the captains not shaking hands after the toss at for the Asia Cup, Pakistan. That was very 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 odd. If by chance Mustafizur happened to be a Hindu player, would he still have been banned? Sports is not something that should serve as a proxy for war or tensions. Why are we seeing sports? So if you had so many problems, then why did you play the game? What I feel is that somehow at this point of time in this country, everything is politicized.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another midweek show of Round the Clock Cricket with Oyon. And I will be having Ishanjan soon on the show. This has been a very disturbing week for people who love the game and people who are basically into the sport, which is so far been a political. Uh, Something which happened terribly wrong in the last few days has basically pushed us to do this show. And we have now with Oyon to discuss on this particular thing. Um, Oyon, your first, before we get into the discussion, your first gut feeling on Mustafizur Rahman, what's your take on BCB, BCCI seems to have not given any diktat. So, do you think from where did Prabjit Saikia had this press conference where he had asked that he had to be withdrawn from the KKR team? So, I mean, normally everything is passed on from BCCI because it's IPL is a BCCI affiliated tournament. And so far, the reports have been very contradictory and confusing. So, what do you think has must have gone wrong and where it was that led to first the exclusion? I will ask you the exclusion of Mustafizur Rahman.
I mean, I what should I say? See, it just what India is doing in world cricket is just getting more and more shocking. I mean, right from the captains not shaking hands after the toss at for the Asia Cup, Pakistan, that was very 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 odd. Then India refused to take the cup because the ACC, the Asian, the cricket chief happens to be also the PCCB chief, which is the see, you're not taking the cup from from this person in the capacity of the Pakistan Cricket Board chief, right? I mean, this is the Asian cricket that we're talking about. If he's the chief of that, then of course he will give the trophy. So if you had so many problems, then why did you play the game? Right. So that is it has started from there, Rahul. So this is just an extension of that, and this is getting murkier, worse, dirtier. I mean, I'm very, very, very shocked. I mean, what would be more interesting, of course, is if by chance Mustafizur happened to be a Hindu player, would he still have been banned? That is the question that I would like to throw out to everybody concerned. So Mustafizur is probably one of Bangladesh's best, probably not one of. He's probably the best pace bowler that Bangladesh has ever produced. And he is a very, very strong cricketer. Of course, he probably has seen his best days gone, but still, he would have been a good asset for KKR. And the fact that he's been thrown out after he was allowed to be taken is very unprofessional. And if you are going to tell me that BCCI had nothing to do with this, I am sorry, but I do not agree with that because I don't think anything happens in this country without the nod of, I mean, approval of BCCI. Maybe they didn't pass on the order directly, but do you think IPL would have had this much of courage to just drop this guy? I mean, either they were sort of preempting, they probably hoped, I mean, if something did not pass on directly to them, Then what we can only surmise is that they were thinking that this act would be appreciated in certain quarters, that this is the mindset and this is what they should have done. So that is also shocking, right? I mean, you are making cricket anything but cricket. That is my greatest regret, because you are getting, I mean, sports is not something that we that should serve as a proxy for war or tensions. Why are we seeing sports? Because we want to elevate the human experience. We are not really, mixing up sports. See, in World War II, what were there any sports events that happened? It did not. Sports stopped because there was politics, there was war, people were dying. The sports stopped. Now you are kind of making even politics dirtier. Even you're creating a situation of war by indulging in actions which should not have absolutely happened, because sport is the greatest. Cricket is a leveler. Cricket brings people together. You're throwing cricket now. I mean, any sport brings people together. Now you're using sports to divide people, right? And there cannot be anything more unfortunate. I can only say that. I do not believe that BCCI had nothing to do with this, because, I mean, see, everything now is under control. We are getting more and more centralized as a country, right? Everything is controlled from one location or one power center. So that power center probably thought that this Mustafizur or Bangladesh should be punished, or something should happen to Bangladesh. And I think this IPL franchisee, I mean, they essentially acted uh, thinking that the power center wants this to happen. This is what I
Yeah,
can
I mean,
say.
the two things I'd like to ask you since you have been following cricket very deeply. One, Juhi Chawla is also the co-owner of SRK, I mean, of KKR, but Shah Rukh Khan targeted loosely and very uncouthly. Do you think the surname was a problem? Number one. So, number one. And number two, Liton Das is the captain of the Bangladesh side, which is declared, who is a Hindu. Do you think that with elections coming in Assam and Bengal, where BJP needs to prove its Hindutva, this was required because the elections are coming in Bengal?
Okay, so I'll answer number two first. I can tell you that in our institute, just I think day before or something, a very nice staff member of ours. I have very, very nice relations with that particular person. The staff member actually asked me, "Sir, are you a Bangal? Are you from Bangladesh?" I was so shocked that why are you asking me this? But this person still asked me, right? So I think somehow it is even catching on. I mean, I'm sure this person would not have asked me if this particular thing had not happened. Okay, so surely this is a ploy which is targeted towards getting some brownie points, getting a message across and getting some nucleation, getting an issue, because there are very little issues around which can probably win an election that way. I mean, I don't think this state is in a position where, I mean, we have very, so we should not really digress from cricket to politics and all, but what I feel is that somehow at this point of time in this country, everything is politicized. Everything is politicized. I mean, that is a similar kind of thing that we had in Bengal at some point of time. But then this was never the case for the country that way. Now that has changed. I can see how this country runs, every single action that this country indulges in. There is a bigger, broader kind of context, perspective, which is all driven towards consolidation of power. So that cricket has already been a victim to that. We have seen that blatantly in the Asia Cup. What happened now? I think, see, it's getting worse, because I see. As I said, I would be very interested to see what would have happened if Mustafa, if it were Liton Das, would he be dropped? So that we cannot say. Now, of course, Bangladesh has said we are not going to play, but then Bangladesh are minnows,
Yeah, that's my
absolute
second
minnows.
question. Yeah.
Uh,
The captain is a Hindu, and a Muslim player has been targeted, I mean, asked to leave. So, your take on that, basically. So,
see
you're saying
now,
that everything is politicized now.
absolutely. So, see, it is, I mean, Hindus in Bangladesh are a minority, right? Absolutely minority, and it doesn't really matter. In a sense, see, here it is Bangladesh who has taken the strong step, right? They said that we'll not play in India. We want to get out of, our matches should be rescheduled. We don't want to play in India. ICC has said nothing doing. You need to play. So that is where it stands. And of course, it is a different thing that the ICC chair is also an Indian, and who is obviously whose relations with the ruling party are very obvious. So now the ball is entirely in Bangladesh's court, and it is quite clear that they would be sort of arm twisted because we are going by rules. So I mean, as in that way, for the particular this incident of Bangladesh, one can just in principle one can dissociate that from the present turn of events and just say that Bangladesh your country cannot choose the venue. You cannot say that you cannot play. If you cannot play, you are suspended. However, one cannot ignore the broader context also, right? One has to think why, what made Bangladesh do this, right? So that way, this is something where you're trying to steamroll without getting your hands dirty. This is what I very, very clearly feel. I mean, it doesn't really matter in this sense whether the captain is a Hindu or a Muslim or whatever, because it is the aggression has come from Bangladesh's side. So it is so it doesn't really matter. So the ICC has told Bangladesh nothing doing. You guys have to play here. You cannot exercise any choice. If you don't play, then yeah. So that way, this is actually helping the ruling. I mean, whatever. I mean, the narrative that we want to set. Sorry, that is actually getting helped. I mean, so if Bangladesh had not protested, or if ICC, I don't know, because if you actually do not want a particular venue that has been decided, what would the FIFA, for example, if think if FIFA were the party here, they would have just suspended, right? I mean, Mohan Bagan was virtually suspended. They're there to forfeit, there to, because they refused to play in Iran. And that was a much more legitimate cause because there was actually a war ongoing.
And the
It's,
Australians couldn't go travel because of the country's rule. So
that
the
is
Australians
different,
can
right?
never go to it. Yeah.
That is different. Here, I can only say that this has been good strategy on the part of the government of India, which is also has its strong, I mean, foot strongly into the ICC, where they do not burn their hands, but they still push Bangladesh to a corner. But the initial act of aggression is something that I find deeply, deeply disappointing and disturbing.
So in the first part, is Shah Rukh targeted because his surname is
Oh
Khan?
yeah, yeah. Come on. I mean, how can we forget what happened to his son, right? Now it has
Correct.
been completely established that this narcotics department person was a fraud, right? There are cases now against him, right? And absolutely that happened because of Shah Rukh's surname. Why does this not happen to a Hrithik Roshan, and why does this not happen to an Amitabh Bachchan?
Yeah,
Nothing
Juhi
like that.
Chawla is the co-owner because it's not happening to Juhi Chawla.
Absolutely right. And I mean, I don't know. Shah Rukh Khan, in his own way, has put this message across very strongly. He's put his angst across very strongly in the way that he can, the only way that he thinks he can respond, that is through his films. I mean, if you have seen this film called Jawan, that is like a very, very strong message that, Shah Rukh has conveyed, saying that, I mean, what you do not touch if you want to touch the son, then first you have to deal with the father. That famous dialogue was there, right? So
And
he put it across very blatantly that he thought that to be very much as an act of aggression against him. And why do you think it is happening? Because he's a Khan, of course.
And I think the way he handled his son's situation and bailed him out, I think that was quite a slap to the current dispensation.
Brilliant, right? Brilliant, because he
Yeah,
did not a single, he just kept quiet like
quiet.
stone.
Yes, yes. He just kept quiet. Very true.
Absolutely.
So my third question is: do you think we discussed this very briefly? Do you think the elections coming in, cricket is now a political Hindutva? I am saying it's a political. Is it a political Hindutva? Cricket.
I mean, Rahul, you're going to be in trouble with this show, I can tell you what we are doing,
Yeah.
but I'm fine for that. I don't really care so
Yeah.
much, but I can tell you that this is, see, this thing called Hindutva it's like an octopus which has absolutely ensconced this country, and nothing is left out. So how can cricket be left out? Right? I mean, you
So,
have people, cricketers who are, most cricketers are very staunch followers of this dispensation. Many of them have given extremely positive reviews or positive statements about different policies about which they had no idea at all. They have come up on their own and said demonetization is great, this is that, and all greatest thing that happened to this country. And and many of them think themselves to be soldiers of the country. And so, see, this is how this kind of dispensation probably works, right? So anything that is happening, you think of Germany in 1936. I mean, the reason that Hitler organized the Olympic Games was that he wanted to show off, right? And everybody had to give the Nazi salute except the country of India. I think I think there were two countries, India and some other nation, which refused to salute, and that we are proud of that. But those days in India are gone, I guess, right? Because what we are seeing now is a very naked show of strength, a very, very straightforward discrimination against people on the basis of, I mean, as I said, Mustafizur being dropped is something that, just not that it should not have happened, but something that has not only put this game into, you know just shame the game, and also drag this game into a mire of politics and of very sort of false nationalism, which will do nobody good, which will elevate tensions, and which, of course, will be thought to be useful in winning elections. Because the more you divide, the more benefit you get. That is very clear.
now that we understand, of course, we all understand, it doesn't need a show to express the views that this was not required. This was well could have been avoided, which Rajiv Sadasai also said. A lot of people are saying. Now that this has happened, where do you think this still and Bangladesh taking a strong stance of not coming as of now? Where do you think this fiasco is heading? Is it heading a logical conclusion, or do you think Bangladesh will back off,
Oh, I see. Logical conclusion cannot. The logical conclusion that should happen is Mustafiz should be allowed to play.
reinstate it back? Yeah.
Absolutely reinstated back, right? Because you are, come on, depriving the franchisee of a genuine player. Why was he not stop? How was he allowed to be
That
taken?
is the first question everyone's asking. Why was he allowed in the first place to be
And
taken in
that
the
is,
auction?
yes, but you are destroying this. This was the balance of the team you're hurting. I mean, this. I don't know if it's possible, but in principle, why should KKR not go to court? I mean, if it is possible, though I don't know what jurisdiction this will fall in,
Yeah.
but I mean, this is something where the aggrieved party, I think, should have had the possibility of going to court. So logical follow. I mean, the solution would have been absolutely to reinstate Mustafizur. That I don't, because that would be a massive, because people are very egotistic, of course, in this kind of dispensation. Ego goes first. It's all machoism, right? That's machoistic ego is what everything stands for. So I don't think this is going to be reversed. Bangladesh will not have too many countries out to support it. I don't
Well,
think
they
they
will
will
have
have.
it. I think so.
So Bangladesh does not want, see, cricket in Bangladesh, in spite of their not great performances, it's the most popular game there, and there's a lot of passion out there. So will Bangladesh actually forfeit the passion that it's the citizens of Bangladesh have towards the game, in order to carry on with their ego also? Will it do that? I don't think so, because they would be suspended, I think, right? And that would mean curtains for them towards international cricket for a substantial amount of time.
So,
Sorry.
so you think, yeah, so you think they will budge?
I don't think they would have too many options, because unless other countries come out strongly in support of them, I do not think that will happen. Maybe Pakistan will probably, come out. Do you think the Sena countries would come out? If the
I
Sena
don't think
countries come out, no, but that is a possibility again, Rahul. If the Sena countries come out strongly and say that, Bangladesh should be sort of there. I mean, if there is a possibility of voting or something in the ICC, had it been there, would
I
it
have
be
not
there?
seen any voting as of now in
Never,
ICC.
never, never, never. And why would the Sena countries care, right? I mean, okay, their players come and play IPL, they get a lot of money, they get some kind of competition happens, they are fine with that. And it's an IPL internal problem, they would say, right? It's a private franchisee. If they have not allowed Mustafizur, that's the franchisee's issue. Why should that clash with the World Championship of where countries are playing? So it's very easy to dissociate these two. So I think Bangladesh has been put into a very tight corner. I don't think they would really want to deprive their fans, the crores of fans that they have there, from a taste of international cricket by
So you think,
subjecting
well, that
to
they are finally going
suspension.
to come to India and play? And then they have to come to India. They don't
I
have any
think so.
options.
I don't think they would bear the brunt of they would of ICC's whatever punishment, because there's going to be a suspension for sure, and that would hurt their internal the cricket sort
The
of the
very fact that they are minnows and there's a lot of internal turmoil in the country is not helping them. Had this been,
no
like
no.
they said, had this been a Sena country, even England, which is not doing well, had this been England, I don't think
Oh
ICC's
no.
current discussion wouldn't have taken the call. They couldn't have
No
taken the
way.
call.
No way. No,
No way.
also, Rahul, if the Sena countries now came together and told India this is not a good idea, that might have worked, but I don't think they will, because they will just dissociate IPL from this. They will say that IPL is not government of India, it is a private country, so they have a private franchisee, so they have done that, okay, bad luck. So why would you not do this?
No, but also the fact, Oyun, that uh, till now, even the sports bill being passed in the parliament, as of now, still BCCI is not under the government's body for
Ah,
sports. It
yes,
will
yes,
be.
yes.
So still now you are right that it might be bypassed off and government may not be able to do anything to BCCI.
Right, right,
Per se, I am
right, right.
saying. I say till the time it obviously cricket is playing and it will be the Olympics. So do you think this stupidity that has happened, which should never have happened? Do you think is this a way going forward for the
Yes,
politically inclined people to use cricket as that is the most important question? Is cricket used as politics? Number one, and number two, going forward, is this going to be a norm now? You will use cricket as politics for
yes. It's already
dispensation.
there. See, it's already there. You are trying to, because of your, I mean, I shouldn't say inability or whatever. I mean, see, you're not really taking on Pakistan in war. I mean, well, we did some stuff, I think, with the US president called off or something, apparently. So obviously there was a lot of khunnas, right, which remained unsatisfied, or but the rage that we had against Pakistan because of whatever happened at Pathankot and all. So that has not been, got a proper. It's not really subsided. So now the easy thing is to do a proxy war, where you say that the cricket defeating Pakistan in a field of cricket is the same as winning a war, right? I mean, you're completely associating this kind of sentiment of a military sentiment, where you actually kill human beings, to winning and losing a match on the field of cricket. So that is just substituting for the happiness that you would have gained if you really won a war, and you dare not fight a war, because both are nuclear nations, and it's good for the world that they don't fight. But for those people who would like to have their moment of glory, cricket is the greatest possible choice, right? Because Pakistan is a much weaker team than India, so now you go and beat the hell out of them. It's almost like we have won a war. So because you dare not fight, therefore you use cricket as the next best thing. So exactly that is what they're going to do. This is going to increase further and further. Now there is Bangladesh as well. That is almost like they think that this is like a twin of Pakistan, and therefore anything. And now once Hasina was taken out, they feel that this has become completely Islamicized, and therefore any action that you do against Pakistan, the same should be done against Bangladesh. So again,
Okay,
you do it in the
yes.
field of cricket.
I have exactly the same opinion. I think as we named the program a fractured ecosystem, do you think the cricket in subcontinent, because India is 38.6% of the total revenue, which we have discussed, Dolan. and no one wants to take trouble with India because
Yes,
of the minority
absolutely.
China countries. So do you think this fractured ecosystem is the new norm? My last question.
Yes, 100%. I mean, as long as this general Marxistic vision, world vision, or idea about life continues, and that is dominant. That is the dominant thought at the moment in this country. This jingoistic, macho is, I mean, being macho, is what is, that is gaining. That is everything. Main traction is with that, this machoism, right? As long as this machoism is the, word of the day, or this is how everybody generally, the ruling, the party in power, or whatever, their milieu, considers this as the way to live. Of course, this will happen like this, and it will get worse. Now, you see, we'll go probably fight against Sri Lanka as well, because there is China out there. So, you would find some context, some pretext again to say that, even whatever you cannot do against China, you go and defeat Sri Lanka, and therefore you think that you're winning a war against China. I think, your inabilities, or, this kind of continuous itch that you have, to demonstrate your superiority, which cannot be manifested militarily. Cricket is now the new venue, which is the saddest thing that can happen to the game. It is destroying the game.
Thank you, Oyan. I think
Yeah.
the sadness that you resonate is very, very dark, and that is the true picture. I think we all realize that cricket needs to move out of this, but sadly, it is not. And I think the fractured ecosystem is getting wider, as you said. I also feel it the same. And I think we have to look it and see how it goes in the next few days. Looks likely that Bangladesh will bow down because they don't have the infra, neither do they have the money, and currently their in the political ecosystem is very volatile. So they'll
Yeah, yeah.
not be able to fight India also with the superpower and the current ICC also. So we know what it is
Exactly.
exactly. So in all, it is a win. I mean, lose, no win, and I mean, it's not
No,
a
just
win-win
one thing,
situation.
Rahul. What
Yeah,
what I want to look forward to is what the Sena countries say on this, because
correct.
they have
That's a
been
very good
completely
point.
quiet.
Yeah, they're very quiet. They're very, very quiet.
Very quiet.
Very quiet. And probably, I think the Ashes ending tomorrow, we might see something. I mean, I am not sure. My personal take is with 6.8, the next revenue sharing from the England and Australia, I do not see them. They don't want to, I mean, they don't want to, I mean, इसको कहते हैं अपने पैरों पे कुल्हाड़ी, they don't want to take the
They don't want
panga
to
with,
take.
they won't. They are very, but pretty okay with the money coming to them.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So
like convenience, right?
convenience. Absolute. Thank you so much,
Mm.
Arun. On this
Yeah.
note, we would like
Welcome.
to conclude this program where we finally concluded, and we definitely concluded that the situation cricket is now being used as a political game to achieve the dispensation that we never thought would have achieved. Thank you so much, Arun. And on a very sad note, for the first time, we
Yes.
say goodbye to our viewers, and only hoping that the situations would improve and wish that Mustafizur was reinstated. Right, we don't see any ways it would be reinstated. Thank you. Good night.